Hello and welcome. In today's video I would like to give you a brief overview of the equipment that I have with me here in Tokyo to enable me to do some street photography and some urban landscape photography. Now, if you remember, I am a film photographer, so all of my cameras are 35mm film cameras. First of all, I'd like to show you the bag that everything has to fit in. Because I'm travelling obviously by plane, my equipment needs to fit in my hand luggage that fits in my overhead locker. This is the bag that it needs to fit in. So all bodies, lenses and everything I have must fit in this bag. When I'm shooting in the UK, I also carry my equipment around in this bag as well. So when I'm doing street photography in the UK, I'm travelling very light as well. But obviously when I'm here, I don't have access to the same pool of equipment that I do when I'm in the UK. So first up, we have a Canon EOS 30. This is a great street camera as it's very, very quiet in its operation. When I do a full review of my camera gear and my cameras, I will show you how quiet the shutter actually is in this. It's one of the quietest SLRs I've ever come across. It's very easy to use. The entire interface is all knobs, dials and switches. You're pretty much seeing the entire interface there. On the back you have some buttons that select the functions, which you can see on the LCD screen, and there's also another dial that in manual mode you can use to set shutter speed and apertures. On the front at the moment I've got mounted the Canon Mark III 50mm f1.8, a very fast lens, great for street photography. You can get in nice and close and still get some of the background in as well. Absolutely great lens, much better than the Mark II. It's silent and the aperture is much nicer than the old version. The Mark II gave sort of horrible shaped bokeh. This gives really, really nice rounded bokeh. So an excellent combination. Being an EF Canon camera, you can also mount any EF lenses that you like on it as well, so it'll take pretty much every lens that you can use nowadays. So if you do happen to use digital, it's great because you can share the lenses. I'm just going to move that out of the way. To help get a little bit wider angle, I've also got the Canon 40mm f2.8 pancake lens. This is a great sharp lens, and at 2.8 it's pretty fast, gives nice bokeh, and is great for urban environments as it gives just that little bit wider than the 50mm. Being so low profile as well, when mounted on the EOS 30 it makes for a very, very small camera. Right, I'm just going to move that out of the way. Right, my other camera body I have with me is one that I've only just bought. I had it about 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half before I came to Tokyo. I've put 2 rolls of film through it at the moment, both of which came out superbly, so I'm very, very pleased. This is a Leica R9. Unusually for me, being a street photographer, I'm not very keen on rangefinders. I do have a rangefinder, and I have to admit I find the versatility of an SLR much, much better than a rangefinder. It just allows me to do far more. On this particular model I've got mounted the Varjo LMR 28-70 f 3.5 to 4.5. I have to admit I love the zoom to have the choice of going between 28-70, but it is quite a slow lens. At the moment I've got HP5 Plus loaded in it, pushed to 1600. To give you a brief overview of the camera, as I said I'll do a proper review on this later. To focus a camera, you use the end of the lens. It's a manual focus camera. You have focus ring, and hopefully you can see there you have the aperture ring. On the top of the camera you've got shutter speed, which goes up to 1/8000th of a second. You've got the film advance lever, which unusually for an electronic camera like this, it's manual film advance, which is great because it uses far less battery. You've got mode selection over there, which is basically manual, aperture priority, shutter priority, program mode and a flash mode. Here you have the film rewind crank. You have, just under here you have your metering mode selector. Here you have a button that allows you to rewind the film, hopefully you can see that, and a lever that allows you to do multiple exposures. On the back you have an exposure compensation switch. You have a little LCD, and you have switches to allow you to do self-timer and set the ISO. And of course, in the middle of the shutter speed dial, you have the shutter release button. On the front, you have a lever that does depth of field preview. You have mirror lockup and flash curtain synchronization. So whether you're on the first curtain or the second curtain. And that is it. It feels fantastic in your hands. When I first thought about getting one of these, I was like, not really sure I like the design and the style of it. But it is a fantastic camera to hold. The ergonomics are amazing. I know it doesn't look it, but it just feels lovely in your hands. And it's got a lovely mechanical clunk. When I do a full review of it, I will show that as well. Let's put that down. So that is really a very, very brief overview of what I have with me in Tokyo and why I have it with me. I'm really looking forward to getting all my films shot and developed and seeing what we have. In a further video, I will do an overview of the films that I have with me, because I'm actually shooting a combination of Fujifilm Acros, Oriental Seagull, Ilford HP5 Plus and Ilford FP4 Plus as an experimentation. I also have shot a roll of Fomapan 400 as well, so I'm looking forward to seeing the results of that. Plus I have some colour film and some slide film with me too, so I'm really well covered over there. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And hang on for a second, I just wanted to add, the reasons I selected the cameras that I've selected is they're the best quality, the easiest to carry, give the best results, and are the most flexible. They're also extremely easy to use, and therefore you don't need any instruction manuals. Everything is obvious. And I hope that clears up any outstanding explanations that might be required on that particular video. Join me in the next video where we'll be talking about my new tripod and a trip to Tokyu Hands